Mimi xin kính chào quý vị khán giả của đài truyền hình VNTV và xin chào đón quý vị đến với chương trình Kiến thức tổng quát. Kính thưa quý vị, trong chương trình hôm nay, VNTV có mời được một vị khách. Ông là luật sư về Business Law và ông cũng là người CPA trong khoảng 20 năm vừa qua. Và trong chương trình hôm nay, ông sẽ chia sẻ với quý vị những điều cần thiết khi làm chủ nhân của một công ty mới, thưa quý vị. Và sau đây xin mời quý vị cùng VNTV gặp gỡ luật sư Carrie Kamita. Hi, Carrie. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. Well, first of all, I know that you are an attorney and a CPA also, and you pretty much, could you tell us a little bit about maybe about yourself and what you do with your business?
All right. I am originally from Hawaii. I moved to San Diego in 2004. Our business is called Transfer Consultants. We are affiliated with a company called Pioneer Realty. We help people buy or sell small or mid-sized businesses. We've been in business for 8 years, and over that time we've sold or bought a variety of businesses: dry cleaners, restaurants, retail, wholesale, a tax business, so just a variety of businesses.
I see. Kính thưa quý vị, ông Carrie vừa nói là ông có một cái business đó là gọi là Transfer Consultant, là nơi đây thì ông giúp rất nhiều khách hàng. Nếu như quý vị cần mua hay là bán những công ty thì những người khách này sẽ đến gặp ông, thưa quý vị. Carrie, when we talk about people coming to you wanting to maybe a guidance on buying or selling a business. And as you know, with the economy right now, a lot of people are either going back to school or maybe they're thinking of maybe going a different direction, maybe going to buying a business. So when we talk about buying a new business, what is the first thing that people should have in mind?
Well, I think the thing to remember is that when you buy a business, you are on your own. You don't have a salary anymore. So you have to have the ability and the personal strength to buy a business and to withstand the hard times that may start, when you first start off. So you have to do a self-assessment and make sure that buying a business is what you want to do.
Right. And as when you mentioned about the first step in buying a business is to identify potential business, can you elaborate on that?
Right. Oftentimes buyers will come into our office and they will have a type of business in mind, or they might just have some parameters of what they want to have. Certain type of business, certain amount of money that they want to make from the business. And based on those factors, we will go out and help them find a business that they may be able to buy. Some of the sources we use to identify businesses are there's websites that list businesses. There are other brokers who sell businesses, and the person buying might have a business in mind that we may be able to approach.
When you mentioned about buying a business, like one of the first things that you have is, I guess, the strength to be able to buy it. When we talk about strength, we're going to go into like, are you financially able to buy that business? When we talk about financial, business loan comes into mind, and a lot of new business owners are very concerned about it. How can I qualify for business loans? What are the things that I need to know? So can you give them maybe a little bit of details about what they need to know when it comes to business loans?
Sure. The bank, when they make a small business loan or any kind of loan, they're going to look at certain factors about the potential buyer. What kind of credit he has, obviously, what kind of collateral that person might have. He might have some equity in his home or stocks and bonds or money in the bank. And the bank will also look at the qualifications of the buyer. If he's looking to buy a dry cleaner, ideally the bank wants you to have some kind of background in that business before they loan you money. So they'll look at a variety of things.
I see. Kính thưa quý vị, ông Carrie vừa nói khi mà lần đầu tiên mà quý vị mua một cái business thì cái điều quan trọng là người ta sẽ nhìn vào cái quý vị có thể có khả năng về tài chính không. Thì khi mà nói về tài chính á, thì mình phải cần một cái business loan để có cái khả năng để chứng minh là mình có cái khả năng mua cái business đó. Thì khi mà mình đi vào nhà băng ngân hàng thì họ sẽ coi như cái khả năng của mình về cái credit, mình cái gia tài, mình cái nhà cửa mình có hay không, thì họ sẽ coi những cái chi tiết đó để họ quyết định là họ có cho mình mượn cái business loan không, thưa quý vị. Carrie, and the second step to buying a business is to review the business. I think personally, I think that's very important because you really have to know the background of the business. Can you go into details about that as well?
Sure. So once we identify certain businesses that we may be interested in, we will arrange with either the broker or the owner to take a visit to the business, bring the buyer out, the potential buyer out to take a look around, to meet the owner, to ask questions about the business, and kind of get a preliminary feel as to whether you like this business. At that point, if you think that it's a business you're interested in, we'll ask for more detail, financial records, leases, that sort of thing. So those are the steps.
I see. When you say take a look at a business, what's so important about the site visit?
Well, you're going to be potentially acquiring this business. So you want to make sure that the business is running smoothly. You want to, you want to make sure it's clean. It's someplace that you would want to own. You might want to take a look at the traffic, the location.
Those
are very important things.
Yeah.
Yes.
When you say about to take a look at whether it's clean, let's say I want to buy a restaurant and I'm going to this site visit, I'm seeing maybe being a new business owner, I don't know, there's so many issues as far as the physical issues, the internal. Would you recommend maybe hire a professional? Like, what do they call it, inspector, just to make sure that it's okay in terms of the buildings?
I think that may be a good idea. Obviously, you want to make sure, if you're buying a restaurant, you want to make sure it passed health inspection.
Right.
If you don't have that expertise, I mean, the main thing is you have somebody, yourself or an expert, to be able to look at this business and give you some good insight as to whether this is a good business for you to acquire.
Yeah. Thưa quý vị, ông Carey nói khi mà quý vị bắt đầu mua một cái công ty thì những cái điều cần thiết là quý vị phải tìm hiểu thêm về cái nơi chốn lịch sử của cái công ty này, là họ bắt đầu được bao năm rồi, hay là cái chỗ này nếu mà quý vị mở một cái nhà hàng hay là một cái tiệm nail gì đó thì quý vị cần biết coi như cái building này nó có bị cái problem gì không. Thì khi mà cần như vậy thì quý vị phải nên mướn những người mà có bằng cấp, thì họ sẽ giúp cho quý vị tìm hiểu thêm, để make sure có thêm một người giúp mình thì càng tốt hơn, thưa quý vị. Carrie, so I'm going to, like, people are, they take a look at the business, looks like they like the business, and they want to get into it. Now we're going to the step in making an offer.
Yes.
How do people know how much to offer, and
Sure.
What's a reasonable price? What's the best thing they should do?
It's probably the most important step. As I mentioned, we're going to ask for financial records. So we're going to ask for tax returns. We're going to ask for other financial records, which will give us an idea of how this business performs. Based on those financial records, we will be able to help you, the buyer, set a value. We will do a valuation of the business, and we will come up with what we think is a fair price for this business. And based on that, we'll make an offer. Obviously, you want to make a reasonable offer, but you want to leave yourself some room to negotiate as well. You also want to look at the seller and his position. Perhaps he's desperate to sell. He wants to really get rid of it. And so that'll play into your offer as well.
Well, that's great. Thưa quý vị, ông Carey vừa chia sẻ là khi mà Mimi có hỏi ông Carey là khi mà mình bắt đầu mua một cái business á, thì làm sao mình biết trả giá, mình đâu có cái kinh nghiệm về cái như là một cái nhà hàng, mình đâu có biết là cái giá của cái nhà hàng này bao nhiêu tiền. Thì đây chính là cái bước mà ông Carey sẽ đứng vô để giúp cho quý vị, là tại vì theo cái kinh nghiệm của ông, theo cái kiến thức của ông thì ông sẽ biết cách để ông tìm cái giấy thuế của cái người business này và những cái giấy tờ về tài chính, và ông sẽ từ đó thì ông sẽ nhận định được cái giá của cái business này bao nhiêu tiền, thì ông sẽ đứng ra ông giúp cho quý vị là quyết định là cái giá của cái business là quý vị nên trả là bao nhiêu, thưa quý vị. So going to the next step is due diligence by buyer. What does that mean?
Right. Well, before we get to that, we would, assuming we can agree on some general terms of the agreement, price, how long you will, how much down payment, that sort of thing. We're going to need to negotiate the contract. So that'll be the formal document that you go into to set all the terms of the sale.
How do you negotiate a contract?
Well, obviously there's many ways to do it.
I guess that's what we have you come in,
sure.
right?
You want to do the best for your client, obviously, and there's going to be quite a few terms to hammer out. The buyer might want the seller to stay on and help you out for 30 to 60 days after the sale. You have to negotiate the down payment, whether the seller is going to, maybe he has to finance some of the sale as well. So it's all kinds of terms, and it just depends on how much you can negotiate to come to an agreement.
Thưa quý vị, thì ông cũng Mimi có hỏi ông Carey, thì khi mà mình mua một cái business thì làm sao mình biết người bán họ ra cho mình một cái giá, thì làm sao mình có thể cao có thể thấp, thì làm sao mình biết cái nào mà nó vừa cho đủ. Thì ông Carey có chia sẻ là quý vị có thể mình có thể tìm hiểu thêm về cái người bán, thì họ có cần bán cái business này nhanh hay là chậm, thì từ đó thì mình sẽ quyết định. Nhưng mà thì lúc nào thì mình cũng phải biết cái công bằng giữa mình và người ta, thì cái đó là cái điều tốt nhất, thưa quý vị. Going back to, since we talk about negotiation, let's go to the due diligence that I asked you earlier.
Right. So at that point, you've negotiated a contract. You're ready to close the deal, but you still have to take a good, hard look at this business. So oftentimes a contract will have a due diligence clause, which gives you, the buyer, 30 to 60 days to take a look at this business in detail. So they'll open up the books for you, they'll open up the business for you, and you as the buyer have to make sure that what you were told by the seller that you're buying is actually true. So that's a very important part, and it's something that most people don't want to do by themselves. So you want to have a CPA, you want to have an attorney looking at your lease or your contracts, you want a CPA looking at those books, because oftentimes what the seller says may not be what actually is
right.
true. Right. So it's very important.
Yeah, so it's always to be safe than sorry, and this is where the step where everything is open book now.
That's right. And I think this is the step that really you want to have professional help on.
Yeah. Sure. Thưa quý vị, thì ông Carey vừa nói khi mà mình ra một cái giá, mình mua một cái công ty rồi, mình ra một cái giá là mình quyết định là mình mua rồi, thì bây giờ cái đoạn cuối cùng, mà cái đoạn mà quan trọng nhất là quý vị phải tìm hiểu thêm tất cả, giống như mà mình gom lại, mình biết tất cả về cái business là mình đã quyết định mua. Thì thường thì luật, ông Carey nói luật thì họ có cho người mua khoảng từ 30 tới 60 ngày để mình quyết định là mình tìm hiểu thêm tất cả những gì mình cần biết về cái business để mình quyết định là mình có mua hay không. Thì cái chuyện đó thì lúc nào mình cũng thận trọng hơn là tốt hơn, thưa quý vị. So it's always be safe, to be safe and sorry. So now, people, they look into everything, they're sure they're going to buy. The last step is escrow.
Right. So the last step is, just like buying a house, is escrow. The buyer will put down money into escrow. The seller will comply with what he needs to do to close the sale. And the escrow company will make sure that everything's done according to the contract. And at that point, you'll have a closing, and the buyer will get the business, and the seller will get his money. So
Now, normally, Carrie, from your experience, what is the normal processing times? I know it varies, but from your experience, how long did you take?
Escrow should take maybe 30 days, and escrow has to get certain things, tax clearances, that sort of thing. So sometimes escrow, they'll do their best to close because they want to get their money as well. So I think 30, maybe sometimes up to 60 days to close.
And then, if there's any issues come up, then that's where you step in to help the clients, just to make sure all the process.
The broker's job is to make sure what escrow needs to get done gets done.
Other than the tax clearance, from your experience, what have you seen? Here we are at the final steps. What have you seen are the issues that usually arise at the end?
Well, there's all kinds of things, and it's possible. Some perhaps a lawsuit might come up. The escrow will do some checking on the business, and something might come up like that. Generally, it's tax related. You have to get clearances for this to happen. Those are required. And sometimes it's just the seller has to do something in the contract to get it done. For instance, they might need to get an extension on a lease as part of the deal, and so that might cause a delay because sometimes you have no control over the landlord or outside forces other than the parties in the contract themselves.
That's true. Thưa quý vị, ông Carey vừa nói đây là khi mà cái đoạn mà đến khi quý vị đã quyết định mua một cái business rồi thì quý vị để bỏ tiền ra thì đến đây là cái bước là escrow sẽ đứng ra để giúp cho quý vị giữa người mua và người bán, và quý vị escrow sẽ bảo đảm cái số tiền cho quý vị đã bỏ ra, và escrow cũng sẽ giúp cho người bán để những cái luật lệ mà cần thiết để giữa người mua và người bán không có cái chuyện gì xảy ra. Và thường thì đến cái đoạn này thì nhiều khi có những cái trường hợp xảy ra như là vấn đề về thuế hay là vấn đề về cái leasing nó có thể xảy ra, thì escrow hay là ông Carey là cái người đứng giữa thì sẽ giúp cho quý vị làm tất cả những thủ tục đó, thưa quý vị. Thank you very much, Carey, and I hope with as we know in the Vietnamese community, there's a lot of small business owners, and I'm sure with this information, it helps a lot. And so if they have any other question, I know time is very limited. So if they have any questions, how can they contact you?
You can either contact us at, you can give us a call. Our number is 858-705-3914, or you can email us at info@transferconsultants.com. We have Vietnamese speaking staff at our company, so
that's great. That's something that I guess the audience is hoping to hear from you, is to have a Vietnamese speakers to helping them with the whole process. Thưa quý vị, nếu vì thời gian có hạn cho nên nếu mà quý vị có thắc mắc gì thêm, muốn hỏi ông Carey thì quý vị có thể liên lạc thẳng với ông là qua số điện thoại là 858-705-3914, hay là địa chỉ email của ông Carey là info@transferconsultant.com, hay là quý vị có thể liên lạc thẳng với VNTV qua địa chỉ email là info@vietnewstelevision.com. Cảm ơn quý vị. Carey, thank you very much for being here, and I hope this information will be beneficial to the audience. And if they have any question, they can always contact us or contact you directly. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Cảm ơn quý vị đã theo dõi chương trình, và nếu quý vị có thắc mắc cũng xin quý vị liên lạc với chúng tôi qua địa chỉ email một lần nữa là info@vietnewstv.com. Một lần nữa xin chúc cho quý vị và gia đình một đêm thật là bình an. Xin chào quý vị.